This is Wayne Thiebaud. He's an American artist who's famous for painting roads that are winding around in San Francisco. He's also famous for painting bakery things like cakes and pies and suckers and candies and cookies. And he does a fantastic job of showing a couple of our principles of design, like pattern and unity, as he creates a pattern and unity with his pies that are set over and over. He has a fantastic rhythm when he's creating these. But he also creates variety. You can tell that each one's a little different. It might have swirls on it, or it might have other things. We're going to be looking at Wayne Thiebaud today because we are going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be creating pattern and repetition and unity by creating a dozen donuts. But then we're also going to be adding variety by making each donut look different. And each donut is going to have something special about it. We're also going to use 6 different mediums, art mediums. The medium is the material that you're using to create the piece. It might be paint or colored pencils or crayons or oil pastels or watercolors. That is your medium in art. Today, we're going to start off with colored pencils. And you're only going to use the colored pencils to create 2 of the donuts. Now, this might be 2 different donuts. It might be a cinnamon roll and a donut. It might be a monkey bread and a donut, but only 2 of them. The only exception is if you create a long john, like the long one that takes up the space of 2 donuts, then you would just do 1. Or if you create a kolache, then that takes up the space of 2 donuts, so you'd only create 1 today. We are going to focus on making this look high quality. High quality means that you spent a lot of time on it, you made it look nice. These pieces are going to be your knights of the art projects. So you want this to look really nice. And because we want it to look really nice, we'll need to learn how to color. So we'll learn about that in a minute. But the first thing we need to do is we need to put our name on the same side that the printed donuts are on. So on the side that has the template for us to know what we need for our spacing, we're going to put our name, chair number, and teacher name. Then we're going to flip it over, and we are going to use the template to know where we need to put our donuts. You can create any kind of donut you want. If you want to put a long john somewhere, well, that's going to take up the space of 2 donuts. Or if you want to create something like donut holes, you can do donut holes. You don't have to trace the donut that is on the back. That's just to make sure that you have the right spacing and the right size. So you don't want something that's really tiny because it's not going to work. You don't want something that's too big because that's not going to work. So that's what the template is for. So you can create any kind of donut. It just needs to be able to fit. So take your time, use really high quality drawing, and draw something that looks really nice where you want your first donut, and then draw something really nice where you want your second donut. And then here in just a second, we're going to learn how to color. Okay, when coloring with a colored pencil, you want to start off very lightly. And I'm not going in just one direction. I'm not just coloring in every direction like this. I'm not coloring like this in every direction. The direction of my pencil needs to be intentional. I need to think about coloring in directions like this, and the direction of the kolache, or in the direction of the donut, like this. But also, I don't want to press down hard. You see how that's adding all of these lines? If I press down really softly and kind of make circles with it, I can come in and I can color really nicely, a real nice soft color. And then to make it darker, I just keep going over it. Not any harder, just going over it and over it and over it. So you can see here, with my kolache, what I've done is I've colored the outside because the outside's just a hair bit darker than the rest of it. But what I do is I'm going to color in the direction of these lines. So right here, I'm going to color in this direction. And I'm coloring very softly. And I'm just going to color softly everywhere at first, but in that direction, kind of creating small circles in a way so that there's no lines. But then I know the outsides are a little bit darker, so I'm not going to press down any harder. I'm just going to keep going over the outsides, but not the middle, because the middle I want to be kind of softer and wider, like you see here on the one above it, or next to it. So I'm just building on top of it. I'm not coloring any harder. I'm going over it and over and over it. And although this takes time, and yes, it's going to take time, it's going to make it look nicer. I'm coloring in this direction. Then finally, I can color pretty hard right here to make that line. That's the only spot I'm actually coloring hard, is just to make that line. Then I'm going to go back to soft, and I'm just going to color in that direction and in this direction. And then I'm very softly going to make it very, very light in the middle. And then I'm going to color the outsides again. So I'm not going any harder. I'm just coloring these outsides here to kind of give it a bit of a 3D look, make it look a little like it's curving around. Okay, now it's your turn to color. Take your time, make it look nice and neat, and let's go.